When the Indian people make a decision, they wanted to make sure that it affects 7 generations coming instead of just the next generation or generation after that. So they have to really think a problem through so it'll affect those 7 generations. Well, I went to my sister's birthday party, who's going on in the spirit world now, and I met my now wife, who was with my brother for 4 years before he died when he was 49 years old, about 23 or 4 years ago. And so we got together a month or two after I first met her, and I knew about her, but I never got acquainted with her or looked her up. So when I saw her at the birthday party, well, I walked over and introduced myself, and she had seen me in a crowd, knew who I was, and I said, "I'd like to be a part of your family. I'm that little girl's uncle." So our 4-year-old daughter was there, which is our 23-year-old who's graduated from Harvard. And so we got together, and so her background was being in the American Indian movement, where my brother was doing his activism and traveling all over the world. And so that's actually what killed him, I believe. It was too much stress and saying what was wrong with the United States government. And they never honored any of the treaties, and he was telling people what was wrong and what we could do about it. 7 circles. I'd mentioned Frank Thomas, a medicine man I'd met at the first spiritual gathering. And he died at 47 from sugar diabetes. He had had his right leg cut off below the knee, and he never survived that. But during the time he cut off his knee and he died a couple of months there, he said, "You know, if I had the money, I could go to Canada, where I have a really good friend who's a medicine man who could fix me." And so when I got here in the Bay Area, after I'd been with the Laura for a little while, I found some sweat lodge people, and then I started doing sweats, and there was sort of a nucleus there. And I thought about a friend of mine, Clem Wilkes, that lives up in Laytonville, California. He had what they call a One Road Foundation, where he generated money for porta potties for the sun dancers and other ceremonies. And that's what gave me the idea of maybe generating some money for people like Frank Thomas, who needed money to go get fixed, go get well, go get healed. And so that's what started the 7 circuits, with this nucleus of the people, of Michael Stalker and a few other people like that. Started 7 circles. In 1976, we got our, whatever that number is. And so the idea behind that for me was just to help individuals generate money, to help individuals and maybe do porta potties at different ceremonies. And it wasn't a big idea, but since then it's sort of taken off, and it's been doing a really good job of introducing another culture to the mainstream society. And we've had medicine men come through, and it's been a really big help and an eye-opener for many people. And I'm glad to be a part of 7 circles like that. 7 circles came from when we load the sacred pipe. We do the 4 directions, put 4 prayers in the pipe, like this, like this, like this, like this, then one to Mother Earth, and one to your heart, and one to the Father Sky. So 7 prayers go in that pipe, the sacred pipe, which, by the way, we don't smoke tobacco in that. We smoke the inner bark of red willow. But that's where 7 circles got its name. And Frank Thomas, I think, was the seed that was planted to start that. As a founder, I had little suggestions like that from Clem Wilkes and Frank Thomas, and I think it happened in a really good way. I've had a lot of good support behind that. Well, it's God's ceremony. It's not ours, to covet. A lot of Indian people feel like that. A lot of people, they've taken the land and they've taken everything. Now they want to take the water. They're selling water. Now they want to maybe take the air, but they can't take our ceremonies, or you can't take our spirituality. And there are a lot of communities out there that are for ceremonies are for Indians only, and there's a lot of them that are open to all 4 races of humanity. And where I sundanced in Ashland, Oregon, a place called Pilot Rock, a guy named Wallace Black Elk, back in 1985 or so, had a vision, and he wanted all 4 races of man in that arbor. And so he said, when we do that, then things are going to start getting better. So I believe that, and I was the second year they danced there. Me and a guy named Ernie Rainbow were the only Indians supporting that, plus Wallace, of course. He's a Sioux Indian. And then I've seen it develop into 4 races since then, and it's really been good. A lot of healing for a lot of people. That when you open the door for God's ceremony, and as far as sharing, you know, the Christianity, the Indians are invited to church like that. So, you know, why not invite, you know, people that are inclined to learn something about a different culture? So it's all good, as a friend of mine would say.